All right, UnDaoDu here. So I was cleaning up my YouTube videos, and just to kind of show you really quick, here's the Twitch. Here, right here, if I go full screen, you can see upload date April 11th, 2012. Right? It's one of the, and I probably have some more of these videos, but this is one I never made public, and it was unpublic because I was making it for the team. So I'm making these videos because I was trying to get a team together and to explain the team. And, I can't always catch folks because I'm in Japan, so I'd make the video. So that's some background of it. The other thing, too, is that I just spent 2 months unloading all of my IP with the founders of Ethereum. And I had a feeling that they were going to use it because of something that Mihail Lisi told me. It was like, hey, you complete what we're working on. Right? Yeah, I completed it. Sure enough, Alisi. And they've never recognized my contribution. They've never thanked me for my contribution, and they've profited off my contribution. So I don't really care anymore, but the truth needs to be heard. So that's how I feel. So let's go back to this video, wherever the heck it is. Where the hell did the video go? All right, shrunk it down. Because it shrunk it down. Let's go to full screen. Let's go all the way back here. All right, and I'm going to talk and pause through this and do an updated version. So this right here is the blockchain. You have an idea. You have a blockchain idea, right? You tokenize it. Does it validate? Does it, passive crowdfunding? That's the ICO. They launch it. I have it slightly different. They already had the team. They move things around a little bit, but it moves around and it keeps on going. And this right here, the Open Corp, is the DAO, right? It becomes a DAO. They took it, they kind of broke it apart. But pretty much everything in the blockchain is right here. Your private offering, your second offering, your third offering, right? All the different offerings are here. I have it all built into kind of a platform. I was seeing this more as a wiki tube, like a blockchain wiki launch pad, where they the process starts with just an idea and it becomes a DAO, right? And I still believe that, and I think the foundation is the token. The token is the thing, and it's taking me 10 years to kind of come to that realization. Because now we have the data of Dogecoin, Litecoin, and Bitcoin, right? But you'll see BTC, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. That's the blockchain. It's built on the blockchain, right? I don't have to say blockchain. I got Bitcoin. It's obviously the blockchain, right? So I'm there.
All right, so this is part 3 of our talk. I'm putting them all together in one talk, but basically what I've done is I've talked about here, this is the cycle, right? It's a perpetual cycle. This makes what we're doing so highly scalable. It'll become the most highly scalable launch platform. The cool thing is being in.
And it has. The blockchain has become the most highly scaled launch platform. Look at DeFi, look at everything. It has changed everything as I had predicted back in 2012.
Affiliate doesn't cost anything because ultimately we want to launch Open Corps. Why? Because Open Corps invest back into our system.
There you go. Open Corps are DAOs. It's built on the blockchain, right? So they just changed it, Vitalik and Mihail, and you have to understand why they put the rabbit, right, the Ethereum rabbit on this is because, Lubin and Mihail was afraid because so much of the work, the ideas behind Ethereum came from me. So they were like, let's put this 19-year-old kind of harmless kid, and probably, Vitalik may not even know. I don't know. I've never had a conversation about it with Vitalik. Did you know? What did Mihail tell you? And Mihail is basically got kicked off of the board in 2014 when I brought it to their attention. They were petrified because on LinkedIn I was a VC. They thought I would sue the shit out of them. So they kicked him off and they distanced him. He got booted from the Ethereum board in 2014 when I brought it to their attention. So, the shit adds up.
It becomes a highly scalable thing. We create a new crowdfunder, the Archangel. The Archangel, who are they? They are lesser stakeholders of open corporations that take up to 80% of net profits and invest them back into what? The open startup paradigm.
Which is the blockchain. So basically, what I'm saying is, people who launch these things, like to update the terminology, you get involved in ICO, you own the tokens, you become rich. You now become, you become like you've seen on the blockchain. You become new investors and everything else. You launch your new ideas. It's this perpetual cycle, and it's played out exactly as I'd prophesized.
So ultimately, what we're trying to launch is innovations that are going to help and slow and to lessen the pain of the end of growth. Understand that is our big pain. That is what we're trying to solve. And as that paradigm becomes a reality, people are going to go, holy crap, Michael Trout had the vision back in 2012, and all he's missing is some silly capital to launch it. So ultimately, success equals validated idea. If your idea validates, guess what? We get to move on. So please.
There you go. Success equals validated idea. Do people, will they buy your token, right? Will they buy your token? That's it.
If you go to our take a survey, answer these questions. So what's the big picture? Where are we headed? What's this open corp? Well, the open corp ultimately is a selfless corporation. And
so this is what I'm describing right now is the current model, right? The 1%ers.
To give you an example, right now less than 1%, okay, of the individuals support. I mean, these companies all listed here are supported by the 1%, the 1% who have the money.
So these are closed capital networks that ultimately launch all the startups. This is pre-blockchain, understand. There was no blockchain at this time. It was Bitcoin, but that was it. This is 2012. So this is the reality, that basically the startup is held hostage by this small group of people.
What are we trying to do? Well, OSI, the Open Startup Incubator, right?
That's the blockchain, the Open Startup Incubator. I call it the Open Innovation Framework, OIF, right? At this stage, I was moving away from Foundup because I realized no one knew what Foundup was. I got tired of trying to explain what a Foundup is. It's this new type of thing, right? And I started going back to startup. And I was like, it's an open startup. That's why on LinkedIn, I'm open startup. I actually had the openstartup.com and .org, and I let the domains go down, and now but I was the first holder of that. And the open startup is what a Foundup is. It's a tokenized open startup that anyone can join, which is slightly different than now, but even on the blockchain, these things aren't joinable.
OSI will replace the 1%. Remember, it removes those seed investors with the 99%.
There you go. This is the blockchain, right? So that's what the blockchain has done. It's gotten rid of all that. Anyone can participate, right? This is people contributing to it, right? The 99% on it.
And as we launch our open corps, they're turning around and putting more money, okay, back into our system, which is what? Is launching more corporations.
So what I'm explaining there is that these entities, these blockchain entities, and this happens not perfectly exactly. I envisioned that there would be DAOs in the play, right? There aren't DAOs, there's still corporations. DAOs haven't happened yet, and there are folks working on the DAO, but this part of the DAOs doing it and being owned by the community, and they tried in 2016 and failed. DAOs is the next really big thing, and again, that's in a way where I'm focused on, especially with the token. The tokens become DAOs, or decentralized autonomous nonprofit organizations, and these individuals that make so much return that we've seen. I think of all these new multi-millionaire billionaires have come out of the blockchain, turn around and launch more companies. That's in essence what I'm saying.
These individuals are the archangels, right? The archangels. And what we ultimately are creating is something I call the Open Corp Cloud.
So this is a Keretsu. So what I'm describing is, again, you have to think of the paradigm, which is slightly different than today, but is still coming, is a network of these DAOs, which are tokenized entities. We're launching, for example, Open Tokenization Framework, OTF Cardano. We're not launching as a corporation. It's a smart contract. And we're going to be fully on the web, and the folks that are involved will have access to, think of it like a like a vault that's not there. It sits in there. They can pull out their money anytime or leave it there to invest. When they pull it out, they're responsible for taxes and everything else. But they're not working for an entity. They're not working for an organization. We are basically a DANO, a decentralized autonomous nonprofit organization, and the fund that is being created is going to be this fund that invests in other things, and it's autonomous, and the network, the people involved, just as you're seeing now in Cardano and other things, will vote and what direction they should go. So all these different frameworks are now exist, and I'm trying to describe it here back in 2012.
It's a karetsu. It's a karetsu, which is a network of blue oceans that are working together in order to bring about change.
So now I'm explaining Bitcoin in 2012. Remember, this is 2012.
So why is Bitcoin the currency that I want us to use? Well, ultimately, Bitcoin, when I did Foundup dollars, I did Foundup dollars because I didn't know Bitcoin existed at the time. And Bitcoin is exactly the currency that I was seeing Foundup dollars becoming.
So I had tokenized Foundups, and I had with Foundup dollars, and again, this is 2000. I've been running Foundups since 2010, and I just couldn't get any traction with the idea of a new thing, right? A new token. So what I did here was I was reverting back to Bitcoin because Bitcoin had gained a little bit more traction. I thought by pointing it to Bitcoin, I'm talking to Bitcoin Magazine. Bitcoin Magazine is not going to understand Foundup dollars, right? So I kind of pivoted to focus like it's all going to be built on Bitcoin.
Since Bitcoin exists, it makes sense to actually just use Bitcoin. It's fixed. There's only a certain amount of Bitcoin. It can't be created. Every Bitcoin mined is shared in the open incubator startup community. So what that means is that basically if someone earns a Bitcoin, right, through our platform, remember we're doing peer-to-peer mining, the entire community, we're talking about millions of people who are basically mining Bitcoin, are sharing micro Bitcoin. Bitcoin can be divided up to 8 decimal places, right? So everyone is getting Bitcoin based on the amount they're mining. So if they're doing 10% of the mining, they'll get 10% of the Bitcoin, right?
So what I was looking at a funding mechanism. So my new way to fund Foundups was like, listen, let's just like Google runs a processor on all these applications. When someone downloads and runs our platform, they're actually becoming a miner. And as all of these, and I didn't know the details of the requirement that the power for mining back then. I was thinking, we'll run it like what was the search for extraterrestrials? I was thinking that it would be run like that, or like a BitTorrent or anything else. And I said we could build this in, and then we can be ubiquitous and have everyone working together, creating this mining power, and then sharing it equally with the community based on the computational power that they bring into it.
Being mined by the total community. So if you've got a supercomputer, so it's fair, it's equitable, we share, and every action, a like, a follow, a join, a tweet, you name it, okay, has a micro Bitcoin transaction that goes.
There you have my tokenization framework. The open tokenization framework. I described it in 2012 with that one sentence. That there is participation, right? Participation is mining, and the micro Bitcoin transaction is the gas charge that then converts and becomes Bitcoin, because the noodle then takes the gas charge and takes a small percentage of that gas charge and always grabbing Satoshi, always grabbing Satoshi, always grabbing Satoshi. It's that little hole in the SpaceX capsule, and there's 21 million cubic, whatever, of oxygen in there. But that little hole is slowly sucking that shit out of there, right? Sucking it in and holding it, holding it, holding it, holding. Over time, what's going to happen to the air in the capsule? What's going to happen to the Bitcoin? It's all going to go into this fund. So here I am describing, I'm looking at this for the first time and blown away that here I'm describing that very thing that took me 10 years to fucking have a come to Jesus moment on.
Goes into a Bitcoin pool. This Bitcoin pool is shared now with the winners. Okay, so depending on, basically you're giving this micro amounts of Bitcoin. People are actually putting Bitcoin into these ideas. Those people that put the Bitcoin into those ideas are actually going to win part of that pool. All right.
So I've actually have tweaked this a little bit. All right. So there the fund can reward a prize, right, out to the most active, individuals, that the maybe it's community voted on or whatever, individuals, and reward back. So this still kind of exists. I've tweaked it a little bit. I've changed it a little bit, but for the most part, the pools exist, and I'm even talking about pools, right? The pool of Bitcoin, 2012, and it's like it drips into a pool. The pool is distributed to all those who participate, and those that get their token to a certain level can win win the prize. So that's kind of how I changed it in the open tokenization framework.
Right, because they're the active players. So you're actually feeding indirectly just by your interacting on it. And what do you do with Bitcoin? Well, you can spend this Bitcoin on pretty much everything. You can buy cool computers, you can buy any product, you can buy cars, you can buy houses, you can buy whatever you want. Okay,
again, understand, you can do this in 2012. So I'm describing what you're going to be able to do it, because see, as part of the platform that I wanted to build, there was something called the Bitcoin Mall. And the Bitcoin Mall, what we would do is we would find all this, all these items, and do kind of what PayPal is doing, where we would make these items available to do the transaction in fiat and pay for it. So this is a reality. Again, 2012.
can put whatever you want on our platform. You'll also be able to change and output our product. Now, what I mean by that is that we will take.
So again, this was a closed. I wanted to patent. I didn't want to do provisional patent. It was going to cost me 10 grand to patent this, right? Understand. The soft prototype patent, right? OIF patent. I didn't have the funds. This is the reason why this was a closed document, and it was a pitch, and I shared it with the. This is part of the information. This was done on one of the most amazing PowerPoint presentation software platforms out there that got bought up by a competitor. It was called Slide Rocket, and Slide Rocket was the best, and there's never been one better. And a clear slide basically did a hostile acquisition or an acquisition through a third party, right, and then killed the project. And there's never been a PowerPoint. But look at this. I was able to create. You could create software. This was an amazing fucking part. So watch.
Take your Bitcoin and translate it into any currency you want at a small transaction fee. So, the soft proto is a new way to launch ideas without having to code, right? The soft proto concept is kind of, think of a proof of concept as the napkin drawing. I've done this talk before, so I'm going to skip over this here. A soft proto is the model. It's kind of like what the architect.
So when I went back to, to the, we had that big circle, right? So the soft prototype is a working version of your DApp without a back end. That's what it is. So you could create your DApp without a back end, show it, and that would be your soft proto. And that would be, you would have your users and everything use it. The proof of concept is the napkin. The soft proto is kind of a working version of it without a back end, no developers. And this is in what inspired it was this platform. Like, man, I could build a really cool looking thing here, and then I could have developers tie into the back end. And then the prototype is the first working version, and the minimal viable product is
Text
the first
come in
one
and
that
say,
makes
hey,
money, right? So a minimal viable product it comes out of a prototype, right? Is when you had your first 1,000 paying customers. Minimal viable product. So minimal viable because there's paying customers. Prototype, soft proto, proof of concept. Most people don't understand their meaning. They wrap them all in, but each one has a different thing. But the soft prototype was something that I came up with.
you invest in this. This you can go to this and you can play around with the soft proto. This is the soft proto, the soft prototype. You don't, no coding needed. It's that simple.
So in this here, you would click on this, right? So I must have a video where I click on this. This would click on it, and I'd go to my soft proto, right? And that was Slide Rocket, and this video doesn't have it. So hopefully I'll find it and go over it. I hope you enjoyed this. You know, it was great finding a video from 2012 where I'm talking about the blockchain, right? Way before Vitalik, way before anyone else. Here I am, the founder of the blockchain. UnDaoDu.